You know how everyone's always going on about saving the rainforest? Well, picture this. Imagine a whole football field of it just vanishing every 30 minutes.
It's unbelievable.
That's what's happening to seagrass, which, I'll be honest, I knew next to nothing about.
Really?
I had no idea. It was like this ocean superhero.
It's true. Seagrass is kind of the unsung hero of the underwater world. Out of sight, out of mind. Right?
Exactly. And it's not even seaweed. I only recently figured that out. Kind of embarrassing.
Well, you're not alone there.
But we're talking about this incredible underwater matter bursting with life, soaking up carbon like crazy, and even protecting our coastlines.
It's essential for a healthy planet, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So for this deep dive, we've got a ton of research piled up from groups like the Pew Charitable Trusts, the UN Environment Program, even the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. We're talking real experts here.
Absolutely. Top-notch stuff.
But before we get lost in the weeds, so to speak, what exactly is seagrass?
Right. So seagrass, it's a flowering plant, believe it or not.
Really?
Like the stuff in your garden, it's got roots, these things called rhizomes, which are like underground stems, even produces seeds. You'll find it in shallow water along coasts, pretty much all over the world.
So tropical beaches or like up near the Arctic, it can handle it all.
Pretty much, or at least it used to.
Right, because that whole football field disappearing every 30 minutes thing, that's pretty scary.
It's happening alarmingly fast, and a lot of it comes down to, well, us. Pollution, coastal development, tearing up habitats, even things like boats ripping up the seafloor with their anchors.
It's like we're trashing these underwater cities without even realizing it.
Exactly.
Speaking of cities, you mentioned seagrass supports tons of marine life. What kind of creatures are we talking about here?
Oh, you name it. Tiny little critters most people have never even heard of, all the way up to some pretty big and impressive animals. We're talking seahorses using the seagrass blades like jungle gyms, turtles munching on the leaves, even dugongs, which are related to manatees. They rely on seagrass as their main food source.
It's amazing to think about this whole other world hidden beneath the surface. You know, I read that seagrass meadows used to support way more sea turtles than there are large animals in the Serengeti today.
15 to 20 times more. It's mind-blowing.
That's insane. So clearly, seagrass is a big deal for a healthy ocean, but it goes way beyond that.
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets really interesting. Seagrass is a major player in the fight against climate change.
Right. This whole blue carbon thing, seagrass as a climate hero. How does that even work?
It's all about how good seagrass is at grabbing carbon dioxide from the water. Think of it like a natural vacuum cleaner for CO2.
Okay.
And here's the cool part. It doesn't just hold on to it for a little bit. It locks that carbon away for centuries. It's like burying a time capsule of carbon.
So break it down for me. How does that actually work?
Photosynthesis, same as plants on land. Seagrass uses sunlight to turn that carbon dioxide and water into energy, and it stores that carbon in its leaves, roots, and the sediment below. As long as those meadows are left alone, that carbon can stay trapped for a very, very long time.
Talk about a win for the planet. So how much carbon are we talking about here? Give me some numbers.
Okay, get this. Seagrass meadows store a massive 18% of the ocean's total carbon.
18%, seriously.
Seriously. And get this, they only cover a tiny fraction of the ocean floor, like 0.1%. Talk about punching above its weight.
Talk about an unsung hero. So we've got these underwater cities teeming with life, quietly cleaning up carbon like it's their job. What's not to love?
Well, there's a catch. These amazing underwater havens, they're in serious trouble.
Right, we were talking about pollution, coastal development. It's like some kind of environmental horror movie. What are we doing to protect these meadows?
Well, the good news is people are finally starting to notice. There are some pretty cool efforts underway. A lot of places are putting their foot down on coastal development. You know, limiting things like dredging and filling that just rip up seagrass habitats.
Makes sense. Stop the problem at the source.
Exactly. And there's a big push to get a handle on pollution, cut down on that nasty runoff that's basically poisoning the water.
Right. But what about the damage that's already been done? Can we actually bring those damaged meadows back to life?
You absolutely can. There are some awesome seagrass restoration projects happening worldwide with some really impressive results. One way is actually planting seagrass, either seeds or seedlings, right onto the seafloor.
So it's like underwater gardening.
Exactly. And just like a garden, it takes planning, the right conditions, and a lot of TLC to make sure those little plants can make it.
Underwater gardeners, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What about those anchor scars we talked about? Are boaters doing anything differently?
Yeah. So Some areas are installing what they call seagrass-friendly moorings. It's a special kind of mooring system that actually lifts the whole anchor chain off the seabed.
Hold on. How do you anchor a boat without it touching the bottom?
Okay, so get this. Instead of your regular anchor digging into the seabed, these moorings use a giant screw drilled right into the seafloor.
A giant screw?
Yeah, like a huge corkscrew that holds the boat steady without harming any of the seagrass around it.
So the boats are safe and the seagrass is protected. Brilliant.
Does that actually work? There's this project in the UK called Life Recreation Remedies where they've been swapping out old moorings for these eco-friendly ones. In some places, they've seen seagrass growing back in a year. It's proof that these solutions can make a real difference.
That is what I call a success story. It's so inspiring to hear about these innovative solutions. But beyond the science, who's out there on the front lines fighting for seagrass?
It really is a global effort. Scientists, of course, doing the research, diving deep to understand these ecosystems, figuring out how to protect and restore them. But then you've got conservationists working on the ground, advocating for stronger protections, getting local communities involved.
Sounds like a real team effort.
Absolutely, because it's the local communities, the people who live and work near these ecosystems, who have the most to gain or lose.
You know, I read about this community in Florida that was hit hard when their scallop population crashed. Turns out it was all connected to the loss of seagrass in the area.
That's right. And the amazing thing is, they didn't just sit back and take it. They teamed up with scientists, planted new seagrass, educated their neighbors, and guess what? The scallops came back.
It's incredible what can happen when people step up and take action, even at a local level. You know, it's amazing how much you learn doing these deep dives. Before we started, I have to admit, I didn't think much about seagrass at all.
It's definitely under the radar for most people.
Right. But now I'm wondering, should we be talking about saving the seagrass with the same kind of passion as saving the rainforests?
I think you're onto something there. Seagrass, it's like the quiet hero we don't appreciate enough.
Mm-hmm.
The more we learn about these meadows, the more we realize just how vital they are for the whole planet.
So for our listeners out there thinking, okay, seagrass is important, but what can I actually do? What are some simple ways to get involved?
Well, knowledge is power, right? Tell your friends, tell your family, spread the word. Even simple choices like buying sustainable seafood can make a difference. Remember those scallops in Florida?
Right, because that all comes back to supporting healthy seagrass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're able to support organizations that are actively working to protect and restore these meadows, that's huge. Those donations make a real difference.
Absolutely. They fund the research, the conservation efforts, those cool underwater gardening projects we talked about. Every little bit counts.
For sure. And if you happen to live near the coast, look for ways to get involved locally. Maybe there's a seagrass planting event you can join or a beach cleanup to help keep those harmful pollutants out of the water.
I love that. Get your hands dirty or I guess a little wet for a good cause. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the science behind blue carbon to those amazing seagrass-friendly moorings.
Yeah.
What's next? What else are scientists discovering about these underwater powerhouses?
Well, one thing that has researchers really excited is the potential of seagrass for something called bioremediation. It's basically using nature to clean up pollution. And it turns out seagrass is incredibly good at filtering out pollutants from the water.
So it's a carbon sink. It's a haven for marine life. And now it's a natural water purifier, too. That's incredible.
That's not all. Scientists are also exploring how we might even use seagrass for sustainable farming.
Hold on. Underwater farms.
Exactly. Imagine growing food in these underwater gardens, naturally fertilized by the ocean and protected from pests. It sounds futuristic, but it could be a real solution for feeding a growing population.
It really makes you realize we've only scratched the surface of what seagrass can do for us. We could do a whole other deep dive just on those possibilities.
Absolutely. This forgotten ecosystem is bursting with potential. The more we learn, the more impressed I am by its resilience, its adaptability, and its sheer power to help us tackle some of the biggest challenges we face.
Well said. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the smallest, most overlooked parts of our world can hold the biggest solutions. So to everyone listening, stay curious, keep learning, and let's work together to protect these incredible underwater meadows.
Well said. Remember, even small actions can create a ripple effect and make a real difference for our planet.